Hey friends, and welcome to this new video dedicated to the latest news about Garten of Banban 9. Today we finally have some really important updates because after weeks of silence, things are finally starting to move. And they're moving very fast. In fact, one of the two developers of the game, FARIS, has released a series of messages that not only confirm the state of development, but also reveal some really heavy details about the next chapter. And when I say heavy, I mean actual spoilers, information about the game, hints about what we will see in the new chapter, and above all, very clear clues about the second teaser trailer, which could be just around the corner. So get ready, because today we're going to analyze everything that has happened, from the new messages to the most interesting details that FARIS has let slip. There are quite a few things you absolutely don't want to miss. What emerges from these new messages is that the development of Garten of Banban 9 is much further along than we thought, and some clues suggest that the new teaser trailer could be coming very soon. Maybe even earlier than expected. This means we might finally discover new characters, new areas, and new secrets. In short, we have an introduction full of surprises and fresh information today, so stay with me until the end, because we will go through everything in detail. But before we really start, my friends, I want to ask you for a small favor. Leave a big like on this video. It's free and it helps the channel a lot. And of course, subscribe if you haven't already, so you won't miss all the upcoming news about Garten of Banban, Poppy Playtime, and many other horror games we're following together. Now I'd say let's not waste any more time, because there's a lot of exciting news to talk about. So, let's get started. Now let's start with the first message released by FARIS. A message that has sparked a lot of theories within the community. In this message, FARIS confirms something really interesting. One of the characters introduced in Chapter 3 will become important in Chapter 9. And this, guys, is a huge clue, because it allows us to narrow down the possibilities and start figuring out who this mysterious character might be. But the question is, who will it be? Let's try to reason it out together. First of all, when FARIS says characters from Chapter 3, I believe he is referring to those characters who were introduced for the very first time in that chapter. This means we can immediately exclude all the characters who had already appeared in previous chapters and simply returned in Chapter 3. I'm talking about Banban, Banbalina, Opila Bird, Zolfius, Little Beak, Nab, and Jumbo Josh. These characters are already known, already established in the story, and I don't think FARIS meant them, since they technically weren't appeared for the first time in Chapter 3. At this point, the circle gets smaller. The characters we truly met for the first time in Chapter 3 are the following: Stinger Flynn, Nabnalina, Tamataki and Chamataki, Tarta Bird, and Mr. Kabob Man. So this is the complete list of possible candidates. According to what FARIS said, one of these characters will have a much bigger and more important role in Chapter 9. And now we can really start forming theories about who might be chosen by the developers and why. One thing is certain, this information completely changes the way we look at Chapter 3, because it means that one of the characters introduced there was not just a cameo or a temporary appearance, but someone who will truly impact the main story. And in the next segment, we'll try to analyze each character and see who among them has the highest chance of being the chosen one. Now let's finally try to theorize who this mysterious character from Chapter 3 might be, the one FARIS was referring to. I want to remind you that what I'm about to tell you is just theory, so nothing is officially confirmed yet. But there are some interesting clues that are really worth analyzing together. Let's start with the first possibility, Nabnalina. This theory is very intriguing and connects directly to the latest chapters of the saga. In Chapter 6, we saw that Nab transformed into his hellish version, a completely monstrous and uncontrollable form. And what's even more curious is that in Chapter 8, this transformation wasn't reversed at all. Nab remained in this hellish state without showing any signs of improvement. This detail, according to many, could be a strong clue that in Chapter 9, Nab will still be hellish. And this is exactly where Nabnalina might come into play. Nabnalina, as you know, is his female counterpart. It wouldn't be strange to think that her presence in Chapter 9 could have a direct impact on Nab. Imagine a scene where a feral, uncontrollable, hellish Nab suddenly stops when he sees Nabnalina. A kind of emotional bond. A connection strong enough to help him regain some clarity, or even return to his normal form. It would be an incredibly powerful moment, and it could perfectly explain why Faris highlighted that a character from Chapter 3 will become essential in Chapter 9. The other theory concerns Stinger Flynn. Stinger Flynn, as you know, wasn't just introduced in Chapter 3, but has become a recurring figure throughout the saga. We saw him return in Chapters 4, 6, 7, and 8. And there's a very curious detail about his physical evolution. In Chapter 3, he was gigantic, a huge creature dominating the entire scene. But in Chapter 8, we found him in a surprisingly tiny version, almost like a mini Stinger Flynn. This sudden transformation might hide something. It's possible that in the upcoming events in Chapter 9, Stinger Flynn could regain his original size, becoming huge again, just like we first saw him. If this happens, Stinger Flynn could take on a much stronger narrative role, becoming a dominant presence both in the story and in the gameplay. So, whether it's Nabnalina having a decisive emotional impact on Nabnab, or Stinger Flynn returning to his colossal form, the possibilities are truly exciting. And the best part is that both theories have solid clues supporting them. In the next segment, we'll also analyze the other Chapter 3 characters, because any of them might be hiding a much bigger role than what we've seen so far. Now let's move on to another very interesting message, maybe the most mysterious one among all those posted by Faris. In this message, the developer clearly tells us that we have to prepare for Chapter 9. A sentence that may sound strange or even redundant, but that actually hides a very specific meaning. He is warning us that what is coming will not be just a normal chapter like the others, but something totally unexpected, an experience that will probably change once again the direction of the series. And this, if you think about it, fits perfectly with what we already saw in Chapter 8. Chapter 8 marked a real evolution compared to the previous ones. New mechanics, new ways to tell the story, a completely different pace, and much more refined environments. You could already feel the Euphoric Brothers' desire to grow and take Garten of Banban to a higher level, and now Faris is telling us that Chapter 9 will be an additional evolution, a new step forward that could even surpass what we saw in Chapter 8. Many times the Euphoric Brothers have written on Discord that this chapter will be insane, totally crazy, something beyond anything they've done so far. And when developers keep repeating such a strong word, it clearly means they have something huge in mind. This tells us something very important. The Euphoric Brothers don't just want to make the next chapter, they want to surprise us, experiment, and push their project even further. And every message they release goes exactly in that direction. But there is an even more interesting detail. In his message, Faris didn't just say that we need to prepare. He said that we need to really prepare ourselves. This really sounds much more than just a casual expression. It might be a clue that something is coming very soon. Maybe a new announcement, maybe more detailed information, or, as many fans hope, the second teaser trailer for Chapter 9. In short, everything suggests that we are finally getting close to an important moment for the series. And if the developers are starting to send such direct messages, it's very likely that the surprises are truly on the way. Thank you so much for watching the video until the end. You are amazing. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell for the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.